Welcome to Follow Your Joy podcast, where intuition is the doorway to your elevated creativity, more joy, and prosperity. I'm your host, Marla Diane, and I've been living an intuitive life for decades as a creative. That translates to transforming creative entrepreneurs' lives for over 27 years through two businesses as a business strategist and a life designer. And prior to that, an entertainment publicist and talent manager. Follow Your Joy is an entrepreneurial resource for creatives sharing their challenge to victory stories through the lens of listening to their intuition. It's time to make joy your inner GPS for life and business decisions rather than lean on your logic and reason first. You'll not only be following what is most authentic for you, but you will live the beautiful life meant just for you. Want to learn how to access, trust, or up-level your intuition? Join me in the conversation to find out how.
Welcome back to part 2 of our episode featuring Saul Blinkoff. I can't wait for you to hear the rest of this incredible story about how this Disney animator made his dreams a reality and how you can too. So without further ado, let's jump in where we left off.
And so I'm inspired. I call up Disney the next day, same guy on the phone. I said, let me ask you a question. How close was I? He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, how close was I? How many students did you choose? He said, we picked 17 artists from around the world, from thousands and thousands of portfolios. Saul, you made it to number 20. What? I had only missed it by 3. Do you know how many times in our lives we could be so close to achieving our goal? We feel we're miles away, and all we needed to do was press a little bit more. And then I asked him the billion-dollar question. Why did I not get in? What was I missing? Because when we fail in life, guys, and we all will, because that's what it means to be a human being, you know what we have to do in those circumstances? Find out why, because that's the answer key to growing. And he told me, you need to put more perspective in your drawing and try, more dynamic, stand on a stool and look down at something or go down low and look up. I'm like, thank you, answer key. I put a new portfolio together. I sent it into Disney and boom, when you wish upon a star, I got in. I got my dream. I couldn't believe it. Even telling you right now, guys, I can't even tell you the emotion I feel. I will never forget that day. And I will tell you that that day that I experienced a dream come true was nothing less than an experience to motivate me to strive for every goal in life. Every single one of you probably had your first step one day. You're probably a year old and you're trying to walk and you take that step and you fall down and it doesn't work and you get up again and it doesn't work. Can you walk at that moment? No, because you keep falling. You never walked before. But what a tragedy if you never took another step and another step. And then one day you're walking and then one day you're running. And if you strive for every dream that you have inside you, you know what you'll feel like? You won't feel like you're walking. You won't feel like you're running. You'll feel like you're flying. Isn't that all what we want? Isn't that what joy is? That feeling? I got my dream at Disney. I started on the internship and I worked on all the films that you mentioned, Marla. Pocahontas, Hunchback, Mulan, Tarzan, learned from some of the greatest artists in the world. And every day I get to live my dream. And what's my dream? It's not working at Disney. That's not my dream. My dream is how do I grow as a human being? How do I grow as a storyteller? How do I grow as someone becoming a better husband, father, and being able to share my passions with the world? That's what we all want, right?
Wow. So, okay, take a drink. I know. Okay, so like I said, everybody, the embodiment of what he teaches, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Phew. I mean, you had so many gold nuggets. I'm like, taking notes. You're going, okay, I could probably be here for another 2 hours with you. So take us then. Now here you are. You're in your dream, right, job. That first year, What was it like to be in that high level creative environment?
Yeah, at school, right? You mean at Disney or at art
I'm
school?
talking Disney, your
Okay.
internship in Disney at your
Yeah.
desk
Yeah.
among the other creatives. I mean, what was it like living in that environment?
Well, first of all, I want to equate my first year of college with my first year at Disney because they're exactly the same.
Okay.
First year in college of art school, that first week or month, I was surrounded by just some of the greatest artists. And I was in a culture, I was in an environment
Yeah.
that was designed to help me grow as an artist. As a matter of fact, my mom still reminds me, she says, "You called me the first day of school and said, I can never leave here because there's so much I need to learn." It was amazing. And that's how I felt when I got to Disney. Look, when I landed at the airport in Orlando
Yeah.
at Walt Disney World, and there was someone there with a sign that had my name on it and it had Mickey Mouse pointing to me.
My God.
You know, it was amazing. They drive me to the Walt Disney Studios at what was then called the Disney MGM Studios. Today it's called Disney Hollywood Studios. That's where our animation studio was. And I walk into a room. Actually, I walk under a sign that says Artist Entrance into an office. And in this office, on the corner, is a desk with my name on it. Saul Blinkoff, kid from New York. And I want you to know, guys, you are not hearing a story about a really talented artist that got his dream. That is not what this is. This is a story of one of the worst artists in his school who got his dream. Because at the end of the day, nobody wakes up great at anything. Nobody wakes up great at anything. If you really want to be great at something, you got to put that effort in. You know, people say to me all the time, "Oh, she's so talented. He's so talented." If you think of the word talent for a moment,
Yeah.
you know what we often think about that word? We think it's like someone was born with an ability, right? Oh, they were so talented. That means they didn't earn it. They were just talented. They were born with some magical gift. To me, the gift that we're born with is the passion that we love something and are interested in something. You hear music you love, you hear Peter Gabriel, you like that. You hear Billy Joel, you like that. You hear Anita Baker, Boys to Men, whatever you like. I'm going back to the 90s now. That's where my music is. Right? You like that and some people don't. We all have different interests. That's really the talent. Then what do I do with that interest and that passion? What effort will I make and invest in it? That's up to me. And being at Disney and surrounded by just the greatest artists that were alive in animation at the time. This is before DreamWorks, before Pixar. It was so exciting. I also remember just little things that are going to sound really stupid, but little things that I loved. For example, there's no dress code. So I used to wear like shorts and flip-flops to work with a t-shirt. And I'd pull up to the Disney studios. There's a guard gate there, the back entrance for the cast members. And they would let me drive my car and they're like, wow. And I'd come to my desk and it had this like mauve color pink rug everywhere. And I would just take my flip flops off for the day. And all of us animators are walking around the studios barefoot. There was a popcorn machine. I remember the smell. There was always popcorn in the break room. We were all goofballs. We all had toys on our desks. I mean, I actually have some of them here. This is from Star Wars. Here's one. Those of you, this is an At Walker from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
I have this is Quint. He's from my favorite movie of all time. You know what movie he's from? Directed by Steven Spielberg. This is from Jaws, and I worked on Tarzan, so I have a little sculpture here of Tarzan. This is when I worked on the movie.
Yeah.
We call these maquettes. These are sculptures of the characters that we're animating, so we can see what they look like from all the different positions. So we were all just a bunch of kids, you know, adults who never grew up. We would push ourselves on the desk chairs with the wheels at night through the halls. We'd have rubber band fights. And when you wanted to take a break, you just walk through the park. We go on Space Mountain, right? We go on Star Tours. That's where we lived. It wasn't reality, but it was Neverland, right? Remember from Peter Pan? So that's what it was like. The very first drawing I ever did on any Disney movie was the film Pocahontas. It was a scene where Pocahontas is talking to John Smith at night And Coquim is the Native American guy she's supposed to marry. He
Mhm.
finds out that she's speaking to someone else, and he's not very happy about it. He walks through the forest at night. There's these leaves. He pushes these leaves to the side and sees her talking to John Smith, and they asked me to draw the leaves. That's it. I was the leaf guy at Disney. And you know what? I was fine with that
Yeah.
because it was intimidating. You do a drawing of a leaf on a piece of paper, it's a small leaf, but on a movie screen, when it's projected, it's a
Okay.
50-foot leaf. It better be a good leaf.
Yeah.
And I took a Xerox of that first leaf drawing
Yeah.
and I sent it home to my mom, and she
Yeah.
tells everyone in our community, oh, my son draws leaves for Disney. She's so proud. Eventually, I worked on the title character in that film, Pocahontas herself, and but it was really just a very, very exciting time for me. And eventually, when the movie came out, I was sitting next to my parents, and the credits were rolling. And on that film, my credit is at the very, very, very end of all the credits, like almost the last one where they say like no animals were harmed in this production kind of thing. Or if
Yeah.
it was like then, because at that point, after I worked on Pocahontas, I traveled the country, 26 cities in 6 months to promote the film. They asked two or three animators to travel the
Nice.
world and promote the film on the Pocahontas Animation Discovery Adventure Tour, where I would speak and learn how to public speak in front of thousands of people a day. And so that was the first credit I ever got. And when I saw my name in that movie, it was an emotional moment where I remembered all of the work. And at the end of the day, you think to yourself, what do I want out of this? What do I want to be famous? I want people to know my name. That is meaningless. At the end of the day, when we climb these mountains in life, and every day will be a new struggle, a new mountain, the view from the top of the mountain is not the pleasure. Because that view on the top of Mount Everest will last you a minute. Then you take your picture, you take your selfie, and you're like, okay, let's go back down now. The real pleasure isn't at the top of the mountain. It's looking all the way down to where I started and saying, look what I worked through. Look who I became along the way. That's the real pleasure. So the real pleasure is in the pain itself.
That's it. So now, right? Now you are passing on, right? That knowledge, that experience, that journey. And you do some of that through doing drawing workshops. And we
Yeah.
and we both know that, creativity, and as you were talking about being not being born talented, the verbiage I say when somebody looks at somebody that
Mm,
is super successful
yeah.
and they aspire to be that, I go, look, it's always awkward before it gets elegant.
That's
Always
nice.
awkward before it
Yeah.
gets elegant.
Yeah.
And so you're now teaching, and we both know that there's huge empowerment, right? Self-growth in the creative process, which I'm sure runs through this workshop, right? That you
Yeah.
teach.
Yeah.
So share a little bit about that. Speak to that about teaching this to aspiring artists. What's some of the key
Sure.
advice? Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, I still work in Hollywood. I just did a show at DreamWorks a couple years ago. Right now, I'm developing something really cool for Disney, which I'm not allowed to talk about,
Of
but
course.
it's a preschool show and it's really exciting.
Okay.
So, in addition to working at my Hollywood animation career, I've also traveled the world speaking as a corporate keynote speaker,
Mhm.
sharing messages, not just with artists, but with businesses. I mean, I spoke recently in Madrid for Abbott Pharmaceuticals.
Mhm.
You can't have a company that you would think would be less creative than a pharmaceutical company. And yet they were so interested about learning how to tap into creativity
Yep.
within their lives and their jobs. Creativity is something we can all use in every aspect of life.
Mhm.
There's different ways of creativity, of experiencing that. And one of the things that I do, and you said to me a moment ago, tell me about the workshop that you do for artists. The workshop I do is not for artists, it's for everyone. It's for everyone. And one of the things I'll do is I'll have like, I'll have 1,000 executives in a room. They're not artist types.
Mhm.
And I'll tell them a Disney character to draw, like Mickey Mouse. And they're all cringing. They're not artists. They're out of their comfort zones. I say, I give you 1 minute. Draw Mickey Mouse's face the best you can. And they're like, oh, they hate it, right? And then they do these drawings and they're terrible. They're terrible drawings because they're not artists. And then I have them put their drawing underneath the stack of paper. I'm like, you know what? Forget that drawing. Forget that drawing in quotes. Now I'm going to I'm going to teach you how to draw the Disney method, Mickey Mouse. And for the next 40 minutes, we do this workshop where I teach them with Disney music, and it's fun. It's like you have a taste of Disney World. It's amazing. And then at the end, they put their pencils down and they're looking at what they were able to accomplish, and they can't believe it. As a matter of fact, in that moment, I have them take out their original drawing and put it next to them and compare, and their mouths drop because
Mm.
they can't believe what they were able to accomplish in just 35, 40 minutes. And in that moment, what they've just done is they've just experienced everything that I'm speaking about.
Mm.
When I go to a company and I speak about, how do you get out of your comfort zone and all these things, that's one thing. It's all in our mind.
Yep.
But now it's time to experience it. And I've had people come up to me with these drawings and they're like, you know what? I'm framing both of these to remind myself on what I was able to accomplish. And as I tell people all the time, there is no can't. There's no can't. You get out of your comfort zone, you make that effort, there's nothing that we can't accomplish.
Mm.
And so that's what those workshops are really there for.
Oh my goodness. Sign me up.
Yeah, they're really fun. They're really fun.
That's fantastic. I love that you turn that into, which is so appropriate, that you turn that into really self-development for any human being.
Any human being. That's
Anyone.
exactly right.
Because we both know creativity, yeah, there's creativity in life. Everyone has that in them.
And the reason that is
Yeah,
because we were created by a creator,
that's right.
right? And if we tap into that, we are most like the creator when we exhibit the trait of creativity.
Correct. Yeah.
And that means creativity in parenting, in relationships,
Mhm.
in
Yep.
business, in leadership.
Right.
So many ways to evoke that, right?
Of course. Yeah, and I share that with a lot of people when they ask me, and who do you typically work with? And I say, well, it's creatives, but it's not exclusive to the arts.
Right.
It's not exclusive to the arts, which is
That's right.
what we're speaking to.
That's right.
So yeah, I love that. So, okay, let's kind of move this to, all right, you obviously believe that, human beings want happiness, but what's even better is, a life of meaning, right? Life that is meaningful.
That's right.
What is that for you, and what brings you the most joy
Yeah.
in not only your personal life, but in your business?
You know what it is? It's really simple.
Hmm.
Let me use a Disney movie to make the point. We've all
Okay.
seen the movie. I think we've all seen the movie The Lion King by now, right?
Oh my God, great
Incredible film,
movie.
right? What a
Iconic.
powerful, iconic, yeah. And
Yeah.
in that movie, Simba dreams. He wants to. He sings, "I want to be. I can't wait to be king."
Yeah.
And he knows he's going to be king one day, and he can't wait to have that position. Wow, I get to be king. And
Mm.
Mufasa, his father, is like, Simba, there's more to being a king than getting your way all the time. Simba's like, there's more? What could be better than that? And then something happens to dad, right? It is a Disney movie, so they have to kill off a parent. Hopefully, you
Right.
all have seen the movie. I didn't spoil anything. Mufasa dies. Simba thinks it's his fault and goes off and lives in Hakuna Matata world, right? Remember the song?
Yeah.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase, right?
Great song.
And do you remember what does Hakuna Matata mean? Do you remember what it means?
It's like no big deal.
It
Enjoy
means
life.
it means no worries.
Yeah, no worries.
It
Right.
means no worries for the rest of your days, right? So who wants a life of no worries? All of us. We all want that. Nobody wakes up and says, I want to have a life of worry. No. And by the way, if you want a life of no worry, don't get married.
Jeez.
If you want a life of worry, don't have kids.
Kids.
Don't
Yeah.
have kids.
Right.
So, right, we all have that's part of life. Well, Simba goes off and lives in Hakuna Matata world. It's beautiful. It's lush. There's a waterfall. There's flowers. It looks like Hawaii. It looks like your backdrop right now. I mean, who would want to leave that? Nobody. But who shows up at the end of the movie that finds him there? Nala, the little lioness he grew up with, but now she's all grown up and they're batting their lashes at each other and they're singing their song, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, right? They're rolling around, they're about to kiss. It's a little strange when they're about to kiss. And then she's like, Simba, now that we've rolled around, maybe we should talk a little bit. He's like, yeah, maybe we should talk. And she says, it's good to see you, but you got to come back with me. I can't believe you're alive. We all thought you were dead. He's like, come back with you. Why would I go back with you? Look where I live. Hakuna Matata. I'm staying right here. She's like, maybe I didn't make myself clear. Scar has taken over everything. And if you don't come back with me, everyone is going to die. And you are responsible. Then you know what he says? I'm staying right here. Hakuna Matata. And she's like, when are you going to grow up? When are you going to grow up? She actually sings, why won't he be the king I know he is, the king I see inside? You know who she's really speaking to? To all of us. When are we going to grow up? When are we going to be the king, the queen that we're meant to be? That's what she's doing. She's like, when are you going to do that? And he's like, you're beginning to sound like my father. She's like, at least one of us does. And she leaves him. She leaves him alone. He's left alone. Rafiki comes, the baboon, hits him on the head. He looks up to the sky and sees in the clouds his father and hears his father say, remember who you are. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember who you are. You know what it means? Don't you remember? Don't you remember what I taught you about what a king is? Don't you remember what leadership is? Don't you remember your potential? You think that's what life is about? You're supposed to sit here in a jacuzzi in a hammock in Hawaii and hang out all day with a life of no worries? You think that's a life that matters? Grow up. Go be who you're meant to be. And he goes back, defeats Scar, and Lion King becomes the biggest animated movie in history, BF, before Frozen.
That's right.
And do you know why it becomes the biggest animated movie in history? Not because we loved movies about lions. No, because that movie gave us a taste of what true greatness really is. You know what it is? It's a singular mindset. How do I take my passions? How do I take my abilities and take responsibility for the world? You see, responsibility is nothing less than the ability to respond. Responsibility. It's an ability. And that's what we all have to do. You ask me, what am I doing now?
So,
It's what I do every day. It's I take opportunities to figure out how I can utilize my passions to contribute to humanity. That's what we have to do. And every single one of you listening right now needs to remind yourself every single day that you are created completely unique. There is no one that has ever been you or will ever be like you again, period, which means that we have a unique purpose. And if we have a unique purpose that no one else in the world has, you know what else it means? You're not in competition with anyone.
yeah.
I don't
That's
know the words, but
your
that's how I don't think anyone does,
best advice.
right?
Really, really best advice about there is no competition. There isn't,
Right,
right?
right.
I mean, that's all and I teach a lot of mindset
Yeah,
and the difference between mindset as in the way your brain works and how your intuition works. And that's our brain telling us, right? Because our brain is programmed to be critical. It's
yep,
programmed to be in that space and
yep.
record and so forth. So that's where the competition comes from, right? Besides obviously what's outside moving you in that space.
That's right.
But there is no competition.
No, not if you're being unique, not if you're being yourself.
Being
No.
yourself and take that, by the way, everybody. And these are the things when I coach personal branding, there is no competition. There's one you. You are the brand of your business.
Yep.
Right. That's what makes you different from all the other millions of other XYZ in your industry. Right. Right.
Yep.
So fantastic. Yeah, really, really great advice on that. So what you're saying is what brings you joy, which is not a surprise to me, is contributing to humanity, taking those talents, taking that history, taking the pain, taking the joy, taking all of that you've just shared and helping others and impact humanity. Right. Just what
That's right. That's right. Because, you know, you mentioned earlier, I have a podcast called Life of Awesome,
yeah.
right? And that's really that's like a motto for me. And the way I came up with it is because I always say, if someone comes up to you and they say, how's your day going? You're like, yeah, it's good. That's how most of us answer. Yeah, it's good. How's your dinner? It's good. How's your day? Good. If they come up to you and say, how's your day going? You go, how's my day going? My day is awesome. They'd be like, wow, what happened? What happened? Did you win the lottery?
Yeah.
Did you meet your soulmate? Did you get promoted?
Mhm.
What if we had the mindset that just every single day that we're given the gift of life, every day has the potential to be awesome, right? If we want to live a life that's awesome, we have to make a choice. We have to make a choice. Am I realizing with gratitude the potential of a day to create and to create what? Ourselves. Because at the end of the day, if I'm the same at the end of the day as I was when I woke up and I'm just a little more full from dinner, or I made a little more money, but I didn't grow at all as a human being, then why did I have the gift of life at all? The gift of life has to be that I can grow myself and ultimately create my limitless potential.
Mm.
That's what we all have to ask ourselves. And
Yes.
if we do that, you don't have a life that's good. You don't have a life that's great. You don't have a life of awesome. You have a life of joy.
Okay. I moved right into that one.
True joy.
Yeah, everybody. So if you want more of what you're hearing today, please, and I've done it, go listen to his podcast. It's a lot of
Thank you.
different topics and themes and so forth. Woo! Okay. So being that, listening and following, I should say, following your joy, right? It's a life strategy. It's not just a feel good. Part of that equation, and it's big about what I stand for in life, which is listening first to your intuition and allowing then the logic of the brain to follow to take action. That's kind of
Mhm.
my formula. Meaning our intuition is not our sixth sense, it's our first. It's our first. And the reason why it will always, I know I'm singing to the choir with you, but I mention this again to my audience, is that intuition will always, as long as you listen to it, and you know the difference between ego mind and your intuition, it will always be for your good. It will always be for your growth. It will always be meant for you, not someone else.
Mhm.
Because it's a God thing,
Yep.
right? Its intuition is connected to, you can call it the universe, it's connected to something bigger than you. All right. So intuition, tell us a brief but very poignant story, right? That you followed your intuition. I know you have many.
Mhm.
What's your intuition that created an amazing result?
Mhm. There's only one story
Oh,
that embodies everything you just said.
okay.
And it was the greatest decision that I made. They say that the hardest thing about being a human being is making tough decisions. So why is that? Because there's consequences, right? A tough decision means there's stakes if I choose wrongly. Someone offers you vanilla ice cream or chocolate and you choose vanilla over the chocolate. So what, you chose wrong? What, you had a bad dessert? Like, big deal. There's no stakes. There's no consequences. So the biggest decision that I ever made in my life at the end of the day was was really standing on that intuition that you speak of. And that is when I made the decision to ask my wife to marry me. That's the decision. And I'm going to tell you something. This is really important. A lot of times my kids will be like, to mom and dad, they'll be like, how did you know? How did you know mom was the one? How did you know dad was the right one? How did you know? And I always say the same thing. I didn't know. I chose. I chose. There's no way to know what marriage is going to be like unless you actually get married. You don't know what a movie is going to be just by watching the trailer or by looking at the movie poster. I
Yeah.
always think that's what like dating is. First you see someone who's attractive. That's like the movie poster. Then you go on a date or two. That's like watching the trailer, but you don't really know what it's like unless you make that commitment to watching the movie, right? And so making those tough decisions, intuition can only take you so far. inside ourselves, we're hearing voices that are giving us, that are leading us a certain way.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, the choice in our brains has to be made. And the question we have to ask ourselves is not, is this the right thing for me? It's, how will I make it the right thing for me? Right? It doesn't happen to us. It happens because of us. We need to choose to follow our intuition and then team that up with our minds and our brains and choose to follow a road.
Yep.
That's, I think, ultimately how we bring what real success is. And for me, it was marrying my soulmate, you
Mhm.
know? You tell my wife I said that, don't forget.
Oh. By the way, like she doesn't already know.
She better know. 23 years we're married this February.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really
Wow.
exciting.
Oh,
It goes by like this.
it
Boom.
does, doesn't it?
Right?
Uh, 4 kids later and one
Four
in
kids
college
later.
and
That's
right.
right.
Oh my gosh. Wow. All right, you heard it here, everybody. I'm not sure if you were expecting that answer, but I think it has tremendous merit.
Thank you.
Tremendous merit. Yeah, thank you for that. All right, so choose just one of many, one more golden nugget where we finish up to
Yeah.
give this creative audience,
Hmm.
all different types, arts or not arts,
Yeah,
audience, right?
that's right.
One golden nugget.
It takes a lot of courage to look at a blank piece of paper and draw,
Mhm.
you know, to create something that's never been created before takes a lot of courage. And it's never a sure thing because we've never created it before, what we're creating. You know, when they made When Harry Met Sally in the 90s, that rom-com with Ella Fitzgerald's soundtrack, and it was a certain formula. That was the first time that was made. They could have put love songs in there that were more contemporary at the time, or whatever. They're like, no, we want to use music from the 40s, right? We want to do something that's unique. And it worked. And then after that, they made Sleepless in Seattle and they made You've Got Mail and all these other things because it was standing on the shoulders of the success of When Harry Met Sally. But think of the courage to take that pencil. I think this of children all the time. Kids take their crayon and they have a blank piece of paper in front of them and they make a mark that's never been made before. And kids, they don't hold back. They just create. It's only when we get older that we start overthinking, second guessing. We focus on, am I going to fail? And the truth is, there's no greater pleasure than just creating something that's never been created before. My message to all of us, not just to you, but to me also, is that we should all continue to tap in to our limitless potential by getting out of our comfort zones, by surrounding ourselves with people that are going to elevate us, and ultimately tapping into what makes us unique by exploring ways to utilize courage and creativity
Yep.
to overcome fear and to feel motivated by fear, not be hindered by fear, be motivated by it. Because if I have fear that there's going to be negative consequences, that should motivate me to work even harder. So embrace your fear, turn it into courage, and continue to create.
Mm. Well said. Bravo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It reminds me of uh, the book, oh gosh, Big Magic.
Never heard of
Elizabeth,
it.
oh my God, her name's hello. The big author Elizabeth, the one that created Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right now, I'm so sorry, Elizabeth. She's one of my favorites. Anyway, that her book, Big Magic, is
Hmm.
for creatives, and the subtitle is something about courage and getting away from fear,
Oh, there you
being
go.
creative,
There you
right?
go.
The
Yeah,
whole, it's the same concept. Fantastic. Love it.
beautiful.
Yeah,
I'll
thank
check out
you.
that book. Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing that.
you
Yeah.
would love it.
Yeah, I think I would.
Because she really addresses all different types of creativity, but also from her, she's like coaching you through the book about being a creative in her perspective of being a writer,
Hmm.
right? And the many, many books she had before her big, gigantic success with Eat, Pray, Love.
I see. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So couple things, where can obviously people get in touch with you, social media,
Sure.
website, and what are you offering? Coaching, speaking, tell us what.
Yes. So first of
Yeah.
all, yeah, you can see everything that I'm doing on my website, which is Saul Blinkoff, Saul Blink, like blink your eyes off.com.
Yep.
You can also sign up to get Life of Awesome delivered into your mailbox. I send out emails or some wisdom or some inspiration every couple of weeks. You're not going to get flooded. It's few and far between, but when it is, it's really poignant and important for me to share. So that's go to my website, saulblinkoff.com. You can see the podcast is there. You can get in touch with me for speaking. You know, I do speak for communities and corporations and corporate keynotes. So that's always just a great love for me
Mhm.
to get on those stages and just really make an impact with executives and employees and just showing people their potential in every aspect of life. I love that opportunity. And then also for coaching. You know, people have been coming to me, finding me for over 20 years, asking me advice on you name it, marriage, parenting. They feel stagnant in their career. How do I achieve my dream job? How do I switch jobs? Voiceover, writing a movie, screenplay.
Oh,
I mean, there's so many different topics. You'll see a lot of them on my website. If you click on coaching, it's called Awesome Coaching. You'll see it there on saulblinkoff.com. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. You can DM me on Instagram, saul.blinkoff. You
great.
can see me there. And I'm pretty good at connecting with my audience and love that to have that engagement with you. And again, I thank every single one of you for tuning in and lending your ear to me, and especially to Marla.
Mhm.
Marla, you're an incredible leader in creativity, and you're making such an impact. I'm just so happy I got to meet you today, and I hope that one day to meet you in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Gosh, we are not far.
that's right. So late, we got to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we definitely need, I would love to meet you and Marion for sure.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
really do wish all of you who are listening to
Mm,
truly never settle
mm,
for good, because to look back at your life and think it was good is to me a tragedy, and to look
mm,
back and think it was great is a tragedy. There's nothing stopping us from truly living a life of awesome.
mm. Beautiful. Thank you, Saul. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much. So appreciate in a huge way what you do for humanity, and it's storytelling at its best for sure.
Thank you.
So I hope everybody that Saul's, tenacity, his belief in you as a human being, right? And the way that he followed his joy was moving for you. Right? I know it was. I know it was. So please take action towards that dream, as he was saying. And I appreciate you as well. I'm so excited for 2025 here, moving forward. And I will be seeing you on the next episode. Be well and be blessed. Bye bye now. Hey, thanks for listening. You can find more entrepreneurial stories and resources at marladiane.com. And while you're there, enjoy my free downloads to uplevel your business and your life. And Instagram. It's my favorite place to hang out. Let's connect there. If you received inspiration from the episode, I'd sure appreciate a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Until next episode, take care.